WestJet cuts Mexico and Caribbean flights at request of Canadian government. The WestJet Group today announced it would temporarily cease international flying to 14 sun destinations in Mexico and the Caribbean in response to a request from the Government of Canada. The government asked, and we agreed, said Ed Sims, WestJet President and CEO. While we know that air travel is responsible for less than 2% of cases since the start of the crisis, and even less today, we recognize the Government of Canada's ask as a precautionary measure. We also note that the overwhelming majority of quarantine exemptions, well over 90% in fact, are connected to land borders and not air travel. We have responded to their request and will suspend service to destinations in Mexico and the Caribbean. Effective Sunday, January 31st at 12:01 a.m. ET, WestJet will suspend southbound operations to the following destinations until April 30th. Over the subsequent 2 weeks, WestJet will work to bring our guests already in destination back to Canada. Vancouver Puerto Vallarta, Mexico Vancouver Cancun, Mexico Vancouver Cabo San Lucas, Mexico Calgary Cabo San Lucas, Mexico Calgary Puerto Vallarta, Mexico Calgary Cancun, Mexico Calgary Liberia, Costa Rica Edmonton Cancun, Mexico Edmonton Puerto Vallarta, Mexico Toronto Cancun, Mexico Toronto Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic Toronto Punta Cana, Dominican Republic Toronto Kingston, Jamaica Toronto Montego Bay, Jamaica Toronto Liberia, Costa Rica Toronto Varadero, Cuba Toronto St. Lucia Toronto St. Martin Toronto Nassau, Bahamas Toronto Bermuda Edmonton Mazatlan, Mexico Swoop Edmonton Puerto Vallarta, Mexico Swoop Toronto Montego Bay, Jamaica Swoop Toronto Cancun, Mexico Swoop. Through its Safety Above All program, the WestJet Group has implemented extensive safety measures since the start of the pandemic, and as a result, there have been no documented cases of person-to-person transmission on board the airline's flights. The pandemic has had devastating impacts on our hard-working people, and they have made tremendous sacrifices throughout, continued Sims. The government recognizes how uniquely hard hit our industry has been and has acknowledged our efforts to curb the spread of the virus. We note their words of support for our airline as a strong partner in the fight against COVID-19. For guests with travel booked during the impacted period, WestJet will proactively notify them of their options.